Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Hash Talks, which has now evolved to becoming a human library podcast. Today, we have with us Mr. Ishan Acharya, who is an ophthalmologist by profession, and he's also a yog shikshak and yog sadhak associated with Yoganiketan Vadodara for over 20 years. He teaches subjects like Shatkarma and pranayama, techniques of yoga, anatomy and physiology of human body, Hathyog, Pradipika, and such similar subjects. In today's podcast, we are going to discuss with him uh, a little bit in depth about yoga and probably discover together how we can make deeper connections with ourselves and perhaps a connection with a higher self. So, without further ado, I would welcome Ishan sir for this podcast.
Namaste to you, Nazneen, and all your viewers. Brahmanandam Paramasukhadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gaganasadrisham Tattvamatsyadilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Om Gurubhyo Namaha.
Yes.
So,
All right. So, sir, to begin with, I will ask you very general questions, which probably everybody has in their minds and confusions about yoga. To begin with, I would want to ask you that why this ancient philosophy of yoga is so much relevant in the contemporary times.
Yoga is a darshan shastra, and to me, it is relevant irrespective of time, space, or object. So nowadays, it seems to be more relevant because yoga is seen as one of the means of health, and because of our lifestyle, there are lifestyle related diseases, and we want to get rid of them. So yoga is projected as a cure sometimes or a supportive therapy for these lifestyle related diseases. And so to us, it seems that it is more relevant in this time, but I don't think so. Since the beginning of existence, yoga is there, and the aim of a yoga darshan is not health or cure or supportive therapy of any disease. So, though it seems, but these are my views.
All right. Before we started this podcast, right, before I asked you this question, I missed asking you the meaning of the prayer that you just said. If you could just elaborate a little on it, what does it mean?
See, this is invocation, it's not prayer. यानी हम आह्वान करते हैं, बुलाते हैं गुरु को, ब्रह्मानंदम परम सुखदम केवलम ज्ञान मूर्तिम द्वंद्वातीतम गगन सदृशम तत्वमत्स्यादिलक्ष्यम. The guru who has shown us तत्व, उसको हम नमस्कार करते हैं, ऐसा इस इन्वोकेशन का भाव है. तो हम प्रेयर नहीं कहेंगे उसको, एंड वी कॉल इट इन्वोकेशन.
All right. Okay, sir. So usually we see people around us who say that we don't find time to practice yoga because, as you rightly said, that most often people connect yoga with physical health, uh, with our yeah. So that is the perception usually, and they say that, oh, we don't have time, our schedules are very busy. So how can someone initiate or at least start having an intention to have that lifestyle? Because as we have learned, yoga is not just related to physical health. It is a very broader it has a very broader sense of view. So how can one initiate at least to have this, to adapt to this sort of lifestyle?
See, anything we want to do, we must know the importance of that thing in our life. We should have a trust that by doing these, I will get something. It is known as Mahatva Buddhi. That if we want our children to do something, we always encourage by saying them the advantages of what we wanted them to do. So likewise, if somebody wants to do yoga abhyas, he must know the advantages of yoga abhyas. So for the first and foremost thing is he has to get connected to the people who know yoga to the core. We can say it's satsang. And not only the people, but also the books. The books which are really authentic, genuine. And he should have a very strong desire to further go in yoga abhyas. So, Nazneen, let me again say about some yoga philosophy now relating to these only.
Yes.
So once he understands, so he must understand the philosophy of yoga. Like everybody wants happiness, right? And everybody wants at the same time freedom from the grief also. And these happiness and freedom from the grief, we want they last and last for long and long, right? So who will not wish that? Now let us see, can we get that state of happiness which never goes, or the state which has freedom from the grief and which lasts long and long? That also does not go. How can we have that? How can we have that? I'm asking you. Is there a possibility that we can get that state?
Uh, I think that is not possible. But if we can see, we cannot have control over the external circumstances, but we can have control on ourselves, on our internal being. So if probably we can have control over our minds, and we have deeper connections with ourselves probably, and we know how to respond to a particular situation, then to an extent, we can be control of ourselves and we can be control of the situation, but I can never be in control probably of the other person or how other person people are reacting to a particular thing.
Very good. So you mean to say that by getting control over our responses to the external circumstances, we can avoid at least some amount of grief, right?
Yes, yes,
Yeah, that's a good thing to approach. So, so we should know the reason behind the grief. Without knowing the reason, we cannot try to control the grief. So I will say you have to analyze your internal behaviors and responses to the external behaviors. So whatever occurs is in our mind. We can call it chit in yoga bhasha. So happiness is there in the chit, grief is there in the chit, all emotions, all thought processes are in the chit only. So we have to understand, we have to introspect what is chit, how does it function, and how does it get influenced by external circumstances. Now, so like a physicist or scientist, if he wants to know, for example, the beginning of universe or any such phenomenon which is observed in the nature, what he will do? He will do, he will set up conditions in his laboratory and he will do an experiment which is limited. The nature is vast, but his experiment is limited. And then he will extrapolate the readings or observations of his experiment to the nature. So likewise, yoga is an experiment on self. So by doing introspection, we can say it antar nirikshan or antar darshan. He is experimenting with his own self, his own chitta. And by doing so, gradually, with time, he will come to know the functioning of chitta.
yeah,
So, as we, I'm just taking little time in this.
yes, sir.
So, now you told me that by controlling our chitta, right? So, sukh, grief, and happiness will come and go, right? It seems that it comes from the external thing, but as such, any subject or object, there is no, in that there is no happiness. For example, I am sitting here and somebody comes, oh, uh, your office, your hospital has got fire, right? I will just ask you to stop these and I will rush there.
Yes,
But then again, by the time I reach to the door, someone will again call me. Oh, no, it is not your hospital. It is the hospital which is just adjacent to you. And there is fire in that hospital and not in your hospital. What will I do? What will be my reactions? Right? Because it was my hospital, the reaction is different. If the hospital is not mine, the reaction or response is different. So think it paramarthik. by parmarth, not by vyavhar. Vyavhar, I need to rush and save my hospital. It is different thing. But the grief, the anxiety it creates is different, right? So the relationship that with me, with this body and the hospital is the cause of grief, the anxiety, and not the hospital or fire. So the Siddhant, Yoga Siddhant says, now where does yoga come here? Yoga does not say to control it, this grief, right? He says you understand the relationship between your chitta and yourself. Is there a self apart from chitta? He asks you a question. Is there a self apart from chitta? Are chitta and you same? So by doing this chitta introspection or antarnirikshan, at the end of this experiment, which can last over the period of years together, you will come to know that there is a drashta or purusha separate from drashya, that is prakriti. So drashya means everything which is visible and felt apart from the self. So drashya, like my body, is also a drashya. Because when I sleep, I am in this deep sleep, this physical body is not there. But still, I am there. Now it has, and we have to discuss it little we have to elaborate, but let us restrict that thing at present to this. So the Siddhant is drashta and drashya are separate. And drashya also includes chitta. So that principle is, what will be the conclusion of this principle? The principle that drashta and drashya, purush and prakriti are separate. The conclusion will be, you are not the physical body. You are not prana. You are not the chitta. You are not buddhi. So now again, remember that example. If that hospital is not mine, the chit, my chit, will not have an erratic response. Now, yoga says that even chitta and sharir, body, is also not yours. Then there will not be any conflicts because it is not yours or it is not you. They are separate. Now, this is the principle. This is the ultimate principle of yoga on which yoga abhyas is based. We may not understand the principle right now intellectually, right? Intellectually, because how can it be like that I am separate from my chitta, I am separate from my buddhi, pran, and sharir? But how will you know that? So to know these, so Maharshi Patanjali has given us Patanjal Yog Darshan to understand this principle. What principle? That Purush and Prakriti are separate. And so, whatever happens in Prakriti does not affect you. So, if happiness comes, it does not affect you. If grief comes, it does not affect you. You are separate. The Prakriti is on its own, right? So when you understand that I am separate from Prakriti, that you will go beyond happiness and grief. So Patanjali does not say finally that you should control all these, but yes, as a method. So he describes few methods to understand or to know the principle which I already mentioned. So in that those methods, you may find that okay, this is controlling only, but that is a method, and it is not the aim of Bhagwan Patanjali. The aim of Patanjali is to make you separate from Prakriti.
So is it more like, correct me if I'm wrong, is it more like disconnecting or establishing a connection with yourself? Uh, how is it? Because when we say that Prakriti Purush, or I am separate from the Drashya, the Drashta is separate from the Drashya, or Prakriti Purush are different. So is it about disconnecting or is it about connecting?
See, now that is again a perspective, and which from where you see, right? So when you see where you are right now, when you see you are right now from where you are, it is this connection. But when you see after achieving this goal, it will be yoga, connection. Now, connection in what way? Right? So, connection with yourself. And you know your tada drashtuhu swarupe avasthanam. So, connection with yourself, disconnection with which is not yourself. Right? You can take it like this.
Hmm. So, talking of connecting and disconnecting, I would again come back to the usual day questions that we face now.
No, one
In
minute, just let me interrupt you. One
Yeah,
thing you told about the time also. I just because I wanted to explain the philosophy of yoga. So the main question uh, remained. See now, why I told about that he should have a satsang with the people who do yoga abhyas and with the books also. So again, is it genuine that he doesn't have time? He has to ask now. This is the start of yoga abhyas. Is it genuine? I am really honest that I don't have time to do yoga abhyas, or it is a vikshep. Vikshep. The Patanjali, Maharshi Patanjali describes few vikshepas, 9,
okay.
if you want number. They are vyadhi. If somebody has disease and he doesn't want to, or he would not like to do yoga abhyas at that time, especially physical. Syan, the vyadhi, syan. The syan is the mind is not interested in that at all. To do things like this, he is not interested. Then pramad. Pramad means he will not do at the right time. Right? He doesn't know that this should be done. Alasya. He knows that this should be done, but He doesn't do. He says, he explains his mind that, okay, we will do it later on, after 40, like this. And in young age, we don't need help because it is being given to us, right, by the nature. After 40, 45, now we start having some obesity, we have hypertension, diabetes, and now suddenly there is desire to do yoga abhyas, right? So it was alasya. Then there is Bhranti Darshan, Samshaya and Bhranti Darshan. Samshaya means whether this yoga abhyas will really benefit me or not. Why should I do this? Right? And Bhranti Darshan means this is not useful. The yoga abhyas is not useful at all. So these are vikshepa. Few vikshepa which are really important. There are like avirati, alabdha bhumikatva, or anavasthitatva. But the important ones I have described. So by saying that I don't have time, really he doesn't have time, or behind the excuse of time, he has all these vikshep. One should realize those vikshep in which, and because of which I am not doing yoga abhyas. So he should observe again. It is introspection. So you start from there and there only. The uniqueness of yoga is nothing is required. Nothing is required like an Ishtadev or temple or a very high intellectualness. Maharshi Patanjali says, okay, you are here, okay, I will take you from here only, wherever you are. So that is the uniqueness of yoga. Okay, next.
Yeah. So, you mentioned quite a number of times about introspection. So, what according to you is a good method to introspect? Like how, because at times we don't know, we know that we have to introspect, but how should we introspect?
Okay, fine. The first thing is to observe whatever comes in our chit. See, chit does not have any physical existence. Chit is prakriya, like it's running, like walking. So anything comes in our consciousness is chit. Like I am speaking right now. So speaking is chit, or I am listening. Listening becomes chit. So what are the vrittis? Yoga tells us vrittis, and Vishay talks about come in our chit. So that is the first step of introspection.
Okay.
So all these come in chit. I amness, I am just asking again, does that I amness remain always? What do we exactly mean when we say I? We know that emotions, they appear and then they disappear. Thought appear and disappear. They go, right? The desires also will appear and disappear. Everything other than I comes and comes and goes. Now, do you think I amness, that I amness, remain always there in the chit? What do you think?
I think it does. I think it always remains.
What happens in sushupti avastha, deep sleep? Do you
Where?
have that I amness?
No. At that
You
time,
don't have.
yeah,
You don't have.
yes.
Why? Have you thought over that? Where does
Probably,
it go?
probably because I'm not, see, again, I'm using I. So probably at that time, we are not aware of our chitta, or probably the sense of awareness, we lose the sense of awareness in that state. That's why.
So when you wake up, what do you
Hmm.
say? I didn't remember anything.
No, so at times I do remember, and there are times when I don't remember the dreams that I
No,
see.
no. Dreams is different. There was I. In dream, you have I.
Yes,
In sushupti, deep sleep, you do not have I.
right.
But still, what when you wake up and you will say, "Oh, Excel, I did any. There was nothing. I did not remember anything, or I do not remember anything." Now, if you do so that I do not remember anything, is it not itself remembering? Are you
It is.
getting my point?
Yes, yes, yes. I'm
So there was something. Can you imagine? I don't say there is something. I did. Can you say that there is something which was registering nothingness,
yes, there was.
right?
Exactly.
So what
Yeah.
is that? So even though that I amness was not there, still when you wake up, you say, that, oh, I didn't know anything.
Hmm.
Are you getting my point?
Yes, kind of. Yeah.
So I amness does not remain in sushupti. And there are other conditions also like unconsciousness, or where when you go in samadhi, or when you are anesthetized, general anesthesia, the I amness will not remain.
Hmm.
But still, after suppose from someone comes out of unconsciousness or samadhi or deep sleep or after anesthesia, what they will say, I didn't remember. I
Yeah.
don't remember anything.
Yeah.
There was nothing,
Hmm.
right? So this is known as avasthatraya vivek. Actually, this is a principle of Vedanta. But still, we can always any combine all these things to go further. So we were talking about the introspection. So
Yes.
now emotion, we have enumerated.
Yes. Yes.
So now focus on I. So this is the way of introspection. So what is the difference? What is a thought? How do you define a thought? A thought is a linguistic form of any idea. You think in your mother tongue only. I think even if I am speaking in English, but when I think, I think in Gujarati only. So thought is grammatical, linguistic form of idea,
Hmm.
right? So now focus on I, that where, when it goes, when it appears, and by doing so, and by contemplating on that, you will come to know the further direction of introspection. So we have to see, now I have told you this, that this is now we have to put these introspection in different conditions also. Like you follow yam, you follow niyam while you do asanas. So, or you are in office or you are in home, you as a daughter, you as a teacher, you, myself as a doctor. In all these conditions, you have to see that how does chit functions.
Mm.
Then you will come to know. So this is the first step of introspection or antarnirikshan.
Okay, it's quite interesting, and I think seeing it this way would probably, I think this is a very deeper form of introduction. I never thought it this way because whenever I would want to introspect onto something, I would just sit probably into meditation or would try to see the thoughts. I probably journal. I write down everything. Whatever I feel, I write it down. So that was something very much on the surface. But I think what you have said, categorizing everything, what comes into my chitta, and then looking at with an I kind of perspective. I think that is a very
Then find out the relation between this, suppose emotion and I, thought and I,
hmm,
the desires and I.
yes.
Because whenever I is there, everything else will be there. When that I amness goes into the deep sleep, there is
Hmm,
nothing. There is
hmm,
void.
hmm,
In dream also you have I-ness, I
hmm,
amness. And so there are desires also.
hmm,
Whenever there is I amness, you will have time, space, and object. When there is no I amness, you will have to say there was nothing, not myself also, and there was others also. You see, everybody observes I and others.
hmm.
There are two observations for any living thing. I is always Chetan. In others, there are Chetan. Chetan means conscious objects also, and there are material objects also, which are not conscious,
Yes.
right?
Hmm.
But what is the relationship between I and these or others? And aham, myself, and idam, others. Unless there is I, there are no others,
Right. I get your point.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So you have to think, and again think. Okay, fine. Go
Yes.
ahead, sir.
Right. Right. So now, since we have discussed so much, uh, I would want to know, you're teaching these subjects also. What is the difference between Patanjali Yoga and Hatha? And where would we put all these components that we are discussing right now?
Uh, that is a very actually important questions because the market has limited yoga to asana and pranayama only. We have forgotten the basic principle of yoga, which is in Patanjali Yoga Darshan. So Hatha Yoga is like I told you an experiment. You decide a time of your in your life or give a 1 hour or 1.5 hour and you do asana or pranayama, and during that hour at least you start introspecting. So by putting your mind and body in different conditions for 1 hour, you will introspect. So Hatha Yoga is mainly for the people who are body oriented. They want health, they want body happiness, they want chitta happiness, like calmness. You sit and you
Hmm.
uh, be calm.
Hmm.
And there are other methods like Shatkarma also, which keeps your body healthy apart from asana. So whatever you see, whatever the asanas like Shirsasan or Janushirasan or Padmasan, they are not at all described in Patanjali Yoga Darshan.
Hmm.
All these are cultural postures or relaxing postures, which is a form of exercise only, but they are very smart exercises, I would say. And even the pranayama also described in Hatha Yoga, like Anulom Vilom or Bhastrika or Surya Bhedan,
Hmm.
they are also respiratory exercise only. But by doing these, definitely we get some health, some benefits, and that is health. But one has to be sincere. So even in Hathyog Pradipika, which is the very authentic textbook of Hatha Yoga by Swami Swatmaramji, and he says only for Patanjali Raj Yoga. So Patanjali Yoga is also known as Raj Yoga. So only for Raj Yoga, I am describing this Hatha Yoga. So one who are more conscious of their body, they should do first Hatha Yoga very sincerely, and gradually they should go towards Patanjali Yoga.
All right. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. So, since we are talking about the consciousness of the body, the health of our body and the mind, and we know that our bodies and minds, like they are miracles, and if we wish, probably I believe that if we desire and if we truly wish, we can achieve anything. But I always feel that after achieving everything, what next? Like, what is the eventual purpose of everything that we do? What is the eventual purpose of life, if I can say? Is it definitely, according to me, it's not material gains, but spiritually also. So, what is the purpose in this way?
I think we have touched this subject a little bit in previous discussion also.
Yeah.
For human or for any animal being, whatever he does, the purpose is happiness, anand, nothing else. So either you are behind the physical or sensuous objects or material objects, or you are behind the spiritualism. It is always the happiness you want. The subject changes, but the aim remains the same. It is anand or happiness. Happiness which lasts. And and not only happiness, I told you before that freedom from the grief.
Grief.
Now it is up to us to decide whether we will get that state, freedom from the grief and happiness, by following certain discipline directed towards adhyatma, or I would not call it spiritualism, adhyatma, adhi-atma, towards atma, towards self, adhyatma, or by directing our energy towards materialism. So how can we decide? We can observe that, and we always observe that. Suppose if I like gulab jamun and I eat 5, I eat 10, 15. How much can I eat? At one point, I will just hate it. Oh, I will throw those gulab jamuns at the same time if I am eating those gulab jamuns. So any material object which we believe gives us happiness will finally may uh, give us grief also, dukh also. So that has to be understood deeply in the heart by observing others, by reading what our have told us. Now, suppose you are drinking a tea, and a child comes to you. Oh, don't drink, don't drink. There is the milk has gone sour. What will you do? Will you eat?
No,
Will
we
you
will not.
drink? You will not.
No.
So our Shastra and Gurus, they tell us again and again and again that materialism will not give us the happiness or freedom from the grief forever, which we want.
Hmm.
See, does not mean that you don't acquire them, but behind that desire of acquiring, you should have the knowledge that this will not give me happiness. This will come, this comes with bundle,
Yeah.
happiness and grief both.
Hmm.
Right.
Right.
So even if we don't have questions about all these, but when Shastra and Gurus say us that be vigilant. Materialism is not good. You follow this path. So just on a child ask you not to drink because there is something wrong. Should we not believe our Shastra or Gurus also that there is something wrong in materialism?
Correct.
You believe a child, so should we not believe our Shastra and Gurus also?
Yeah.
So ultimate aim is happiness or ananda of any materialism or any approach of materialism or approach of adhyatma. Right?
Right. Right. Yeah. That makes sense. So, all right. While you were talking, I think you briefly or you just mentioned about Vyavhar and Vivek Purnata, bringing Vivek Purnata or Vyavhar in our approaches. Now, my question is, how can we inculcate these? And more than inculcating, when we say Vivek Purnata, that is being able to identify the right from the wrong. Uh, but the right and wrong is again very subjective. So, how can I uh, be very pragmatic about my decisions?
Absolutely right. That right and wrong is very subjective. Subjective means it varies from time, space, and the subject also. So actually, there is no rule book that you behave or you do like these only in a particular condition. And the biggest examples in our Shastra is Mahabharata. Krishna, even though Krishna says ahimsa paramo dharma, still he prepares Arjun for a very
Hmm.
big war.
Hmm.
Lord Rama was supposed to be the most ideal man. but still he kills Wali uh, by hiding behind a tree. He does not go face to face. So there is no rule book. So, how to decide? So we have in our Shastra Dharmanushthan. And if one some at some point of time in some space or in some location, one thing is right, that may be wrong in the other space or other location and time. We have to accept that. So now we want to do something in this vyavhar. How should we come to that vivek? So simple words, as far as possible, the others are important. We should not harm them by our vani or by our karma.
Right. Okay.
So that is one of that is yama ahimsa, right? But it's not individual. Suppose if I want that my Vadodara should come up, and in that I have to compromise something in my area, for example, then I have to let go about my area. Like some project which I want that it should come in my area. I'm giving very gross example, but still it will be useful. A project comes in my area, should come in my area. I want that there is a body which regulates Vadodara, and he proposes a project which is very good, and I want that project to be in my area. But in overall interest of Vadodara, it should be in an area where they have proposed. So what will I do? I will let it go in that larger interest. Same thing it goes like my Vadodara for state Gujarat, for Gujarat, India, for India, the world, and for world, Brahmand, universe. So for universe, you may have to compromise something. If you think of universe. So again, there is no rule book, but these are few principles, simple principles which we can follow. That if whatever I am doing should not be finally harmful to the universe, to the Brahman, right? So that should be the principle. Now, in a space, any suppose in office or the house, how do we follow this? And we had discussion of that also, like Maitri, Mudita, Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upeksha.
Yeah.
So whenever you see a person who is happy, you do friendship. No, do not have enviness, right? In office or somewhere. If he is happy, I am his friend and I am also happy. Whenever you see a person who is in deep grief, you should have karuna. The heart should melt. And whatever you can do for his betterment, you should do that.
Right.
Mudita, when somebody does a good work, so we should not say, no, he is just showing. He is very showy. He is very showy. He wants to get appreciated. That's why he is doing all this good work. If he is donating something, oh, he is donating because he wants name on that building or that room, right? No, that should not be our thinking. Our thinking should be, oh, he is doing a good work. He is using his money for betterment. That is should be our thinking. And upeksha, when somebody does a crime or something which is not which is harmful to the others and in large to the universe, if we have a role, see, these are all vyavhar. If we are police, or we have that vyavaharik role of controlling that, we should do that. But I am not police. It is not my job of controlling a crime. There you do upeksha, indifference. What is your duty is to inform police.
Hmm.
Right? Don't directly jump. It is indifference, upeksha.
All right.
In that way only you can uh, be free of your anxiety in your
Right.
mind.
All right. It makes sense. Yeah. Um, so we said that being free of you ended up saying that being free of the anxiety of the mind. Now, one of the reasons that causes a lot of anxiety in our mind is the continuous distractions that we go throughout the day, across weeks and months and years together. One of the biggest distractions today, I think, is social media. And as of now, whatever we do, we would want to put it up on the social media to be appreciated by others. And with that small appreciation, probably at times, I have seen that people limit their abilities and then they don't act further. So, so my question is, how can we rise above all these things? Because as now you said that happiness, Anand is my ultimate aim. So if I'm getting Anand through distractions, but again, it is also causing anxiety in my mind. I'm not able to leverage onto my abilities to the fullest. Then how can I maintain a balance between all this?
See, when you see Adhyatma point of view, these issues are not separate. These are all related to one thing only. According to yoga, these are related to one thing only, and that is because you 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 feel or you imagine to be body or to be chitta. All
Hmm.
these vyavhar is possible only if when you believe you to be body and you to be chitta. So yoga, now when you ask how can I overcome these? So there can be a temporary solution. Okay, there can be a motivational
Hmm.
address or motivational books and all that you read, right? But still, I don't think it will go in very deep and it will really change you drastically
Hmm.
unless and until we go towards adhyatma and experience and understands with our heart that I am separate from body, mind, or prakriti. Drashta, I am drashta or purush, and this is prakriti. The ultimate uh, relief from all these small issues like happiness or grief or pride or whatever you name it is not possible. You will have that unless you have the understanding of dris, drashta, and drashya. So what Adhyatma does, he brings all issues or all problem to one point only. Now what we try to do, that okay, for pride the solution is like this, for grief the solution is like this, the happiness there is different solution.
Mm.
It is not like that. All these Adhyatma, the principle of Adhyatma is that these all are related to one thing only, and that is your agyan. You do not know what you are actually. So you should work in that direction only. That is only the answer, final answer. And in working on that direction, you will get rid of all this pride or ego or grief or whatever you say.
Right, right. So I agree with that. So, what is better, to renounce everything or to experience everything?
So if I ask you, will you renounce everything now? Will you be able to renounce everything now?
No, I might not.
Okay, fine. So you will not be able to renounce everything at a stretch, right?
Mm.
Okay. So will you be able to renounce 1 hour,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Okay. So for that 1 hour, what will you do? You will think in this direction again. Same thing. See, you are busy, as you told that there are many who are
Mm.
very busy and they don't think or they don't do yoga abhyas. See, renouncing everything is very big.
Mm.
And we don't know whether renouncing everything will achieve what we want or will not achieve.
Mm.
You definitely need to put, and suppose if something is there in my hand,
Mm.
and if I want to take something else, I have to put it and then take it. I cannot uh, take multiple things in my hand
Mm.
properly.
Mm.
So no doubt about that, that suppose if we want to do yoga abhyas, we have to have time for that, and that time we have to take from our professional life, either from professional life or either from family life.
Yes.
But when you renounce that family life or professional life, can you renounce for 1 hour or 1.5 hours? So that is also
Yes. Mm.
renouncing.
Yes.
So that is also renouncing.
Yeah.
You keep on experiencing whatever you want
Mm.
in professional and the family life or social life. Renounce for 1 hour. That is enough.
Mm.
That is enough. You think sincerely by heart all these issues which you have asked, we have queries of 1 hour, 1.5 hours. And then gradually you will understand that in that process only, that I don't need to renounce. I can do these while working also
Correct.
at the same time. But initially for sadhak, yes, at least 1.5 hours, 2 hours, dedicated, discipline by heart, working is required to solve this problem. Unless we think in that direction properly, like that direction means adhyatma, we are not going to solve all these problems.
Mm.
Solve means, I'm telling you, see, it's not like that that those problems will not come. Those problems will come, but then you will have different response, not controlled response. You will have different response.
All right.
So initially you may have to control, you may have to follow yam, niyam, ya satya, ahimsa, asteya, brahmacharya, parigraha, or shaucha, santosh, tapas, swadhyaya, ishwar, pranidhan, all yam, niyam. But that is a process, that is a prakriya.
Hmm.
Finally, it is not controlling. I told you, it is understanding.
Right. Correct, sir. Um, so you are basically a medical professional, and you are also a yoga sadhak for a very long time now. Has there ever been a conflict occurring in your mind with regards to both the practices? Because there are many things which medical science uh, probably does not accept today with respect to Shatkarma or the presence of chakras in our body. Probably these are the theories which can never be proven. So, has there ever been conflict in your mind? And if yes, then how have you overcome that?
See, as far as Shatkarmas are concerned, they are definitely very scientific. There is no, even during this pandemic, I had a video, one of the doctors, a very uh, renowned physician, had a video of doing neti.
Hmm.
I don't know you have come across that video or not. So all Shatkarmas are very scientific. So Shatkarmas are definitely Shatkarma, Asan or Pranayam. Those physical all kriyas are very scientific, no doubt about that. So there are no conflicts in that. Now, as far as chakra theory is concerned, so it is not physical again, it is metaphysical.
Hmm.
You understand that. What is chakra? Chakra means which has no end. It is cycle, basically. Wheel means you just go and go on, go on and go on. You can go on round and round and round. There will not be any end. There is only center and no end. So when you chakra in that way, that you have Muladhar or Swadhisthana or Manipur, and your guru teaches you that okay, fine, Muladhar is related to these, that chakra is related to these, and by concentrating and doing a bhavana that I should get rid of all these obstacles, there is nothing wrong. Is it wrong? There is nothing wrong,
Right.
right? So one by one, it is a method again, like introspection, directly introspection, and this is indirect introspection,
Hmm.
right? You come across, you concentrate on your chakra, this chakra, you concentrate on this chakra, and then you get rid of these. You meditate on this chakra and you get rid of these. So there is a process, a method, one of the methods of many methods.
Hmm.
So when you take it like this, now when you take, there is another many method also. Uh, like the each chakra has bij also, each chakra has devata also, mantra. Now uh, the scientists and physicists also believe that the sound is very important. So I have no sadhana, or I have not done anything special about this chakra, but what I have some understanding that I am sharing with you, that sound is very important. So when you do meditation on that chakra with that bij mantra, all that have yam, lam, ram, they have different bij mantra. With mantra, they have enormous power to do something. Now that again a metaphysical thing, and we don't know that whether really it happens or not, because that requires sadhana. And it is not like that I do half an hour or 15 minutes meditation and I will get I will get those powers.
Hmm.
It is a separate sadhana. So just because we do not do or we do not know by physicality, we cannot say that this is not true.
Correct.
We have to do sadhana. If we want to prove it wrong or right, we have to do sadhana. Unless we do sadhana, we cannot say that it is wrong, either wrong or it is right. So at present, if you say, I am open to both, it may be wrong, it may be right.
Hmm.
But looking at Hathyog, asanas, and pranayama, and Shatkarma, they are all scientific methods. You ask anybody, any doctor, if they say this is not scientific, it is wrong,
Hmm.
right? Because it
Right,
is
sir.
based on certain physiology and anatomy. Do you know before 3,000 years ago, 2,500 years ago, how can they have such evolved methods of exercising your body, exercising your circulatory system, exercising your respiratory system? So if you look retrospectively, they might have a very deep understanding of human physiology and anatomy,
Hmm.
right?
Correct.
So looking at those methods, I am more towards believing that Shatchakra, that it may have some, uh, if you do sadhana, it
Hmm.
may have some uh, enormous consequences, results.
All right. All right. Uh, Sir, I get this question very often in my mind, and I just thought to ask it to you if you can answer.
Yeah,
Is it
please.
possible to overcome death?
Okay. So by death, what do you understand?
Uh, that my physical body will no longer be active, and I will not be, my physical existence will no longer be in place in this world or universe.
Okay. So physical existence and your physical existence. My. So this is my mobile. I say it is my mobile.
Hmm.
This mobile will not be mine at some point of time in future.
Hmm.
Now, is it death of myself or is it death of mobile?
No, it is not death either. I mean, there's no death actually in this case.
No, this will get destroyed. It will be scrapped.
It
What will
is
happen to this mobile? It is death, not
it
death.
is the death, yeah. It is the death of the mobile in that case.
Okay. But then is it my death because it was my mobile?
No.
So what is the difference between my physical existence and myself? Are they same?
Mm, okay, now I have an understanding that probably no, it's not the same.
No. What is your understanding? Let me know.
I so sir, see what I feel. I'll communicate very honestly. These things are very um, to understand all these things theoretically is one thing, but when it comes to apply practically, let's say there is death, you die. Okay, if let's say if I die, I am gone forever. Then we say that okay, I am separate from my physical self, or maybe then we say that okay, the energies remain, bhale the physical body is not there. So that is again theoretically, but the person is gone. So
No, it is not theoretical. See, I understand your question. It is not theoretical because you have not, we don't bother to think It is not physical, or it is not just theoretical. You see yourself. See, the one which is when I see something separately,
Hmm.
if I see mobile, I am not mobile. That is the rule. If I see you, I am not you. Physically, if I see your body, I am not your body. If I
Hmm.
can see my body, I am not my body. To see a mobile,
Hmm.
what you require? What do you require to see a mobile? Your mobile has to be there.
Yeah.
Then there has to be light.
Hmm.
Then
Functioning
there has to
eyes.
be,
Yeah.
eyes,
Hmm.
sense organ. So that's Gnanendriya.
Hmm.
Then there has to be mind,
Hmm.
because unless we don't have mind, even if we have functioning eyes, you will not see. You
Yeah.
know about vegetative state.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. That is the now. So for a mobile to see, you should have a mobile in place. You should have light. You should have eyes. You should have mind, right?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
then what you should have above mind?
I.
Yes. Without eye, there is nothing. So
Hmm.
I. Now, leave aside mobile. What should you have to see your eyes or to feel your eyes?
Uh, to feel my eyes. Is it the chit? Is
Yeah,
it the mind? Yeah.
chit and chit and
The object
eye.
and the
No,
eye.
eye.
Okay. Hmm.
No. To see eyes, to feel eyes, you should have chit and eye.
Eyes. Hmm.
Now put aside eyes also. What you should have to feel or to know chit?
Probably all the components that we discussed. If I don't have thoughts, then I will not know if where they are occurring. If I don't have desires, then I will not know where they are occurring.
No, but that presence is not required for chit to be there, whether it is empty or filled with all the components like thoughts or emotions. What is required? The emptiness, to see emptiness of chit and to see the filled chit. What is required? Finally,
Again, is
I.
it I? Yes, the again I.
I
Hmm.
see. Without again,
Hmm.
I is required for all these things: to see mobile, to see eyes, to
Hmm.
see mind.
Hmm.
Now, what is required to feel I?
Chit.
No. What is required to feel the I? Now, when you take chitta, any I to be a part of chitta, it is different. But when you see, when you have a thought, I am. You always have a thought. How do you recognize yourself? You have a thought, I am always, or you recognize yourself,
We
or you identify
recognize.
yourself.
Yeah, we recognize ourselves. We
You
identify.
recognize yourself. So then observe or think that nothing is required for that I.
Hmm.
So I is that consciousness which sees the emptiness or filled or drashya or prakriti. the void and the existence, abhivyakti. But to see the I, consciousness, suppose if you say, okay, consciousness is required for consciousness, consciousness is required for the consciousness, then it is, why don't you believe that, okay, consciousness is the final thing? And when you require I to see your mind or chitta, it is the rule that when you see something or when you feel something, perceive something, it is separate from you. If I see my chit, I am separate from chitta. Very obvious, very logical. Nothing, it is not theoretical. It is very practical. You see yourself. And this is what yoga abhyas for. So it will not come like if I say, okay, you are separate from chitta, so you now start believing that you are separate from chitta.
Correct.
So that is manana, a belief. That will again become a belief. Because I have said, or Shastra has said, I have to believe, I should believe. No, that is not janana. That is not your deep understanding experience. So how can that be converted, that thought or manna, belief can be converted into that experience? And the first question will be, do we want that manna, do we want to believe that, or we don't want to believe that? Whether the chitta is separate from I, as you said, that okay, it is theoretical that I am the body, the person is gone. Fine. So I told you the example that okay, a child comes to you and if you say something and you will not drink tea, you will explore it.
Yeah.
So if I say, or Shastra says, that you are not the body, you are not the chitta, so are you ready to explore that thing, or you are not ready to explore that thing? That is the question. Or you are just rejecting, okay, no, this person is gone, nothing, so nothing remains, the body is gone, nothing remains, these are all theoretical, I am separate, I am chitta. Then you are not exploring that. You are just giving your opinion based on beliefs which are hidden in your chitta.
Right.
So first and foremost thing is, idea should be whether I want to explore these or not. If you do not want to explore, it is up to you. It is your freedom. I cannot force you to explore that. It is your freedom to believe anything. But then, if you do not explore, you have explored enough of believing yourself as body and chitta. Right? Did you get happiness? Did you get grief from relief completely? Did you get all the satisfaction which you want?
No.
Have you achieved that satisfaction, or you have always have something behind in your, or something in your deeper heart? No, still something to be done, still something to be done. You will achieve something, and again still something to be done, still something to be done.
Yeah, correct.
There will be state that will be perfect. There will be satisfaction. There will not be further desire to do something. It will all occur by itself. So first is whether you want to explore or not.
Right.
If you do not want to explore, leave it. That's okay. Then we don't need any discussion, this type of discussion. Nothing. You enjoy yourself, or you just discuss all these things just for the sake of discussing. That is one approach. And if I want to really explore, then what should I do? Then there are methods. Okay, you follow yoga abhyas, or you follow Vedanta, or for the sake any religion. Religion is the first thing because it disciplines our life, energy. It gives a direction. But again, it should not be a blinded following. You should always question everything like you are questioning right now. You should always be questioning each and every aspect. And rather than questioning others, you should question yourself also. That if I am there, everything is there. See, we are astonished to have when we see the universe, when we see the sea, when we see the beautiful nature. But then we forget that, okay, these all beautifulness, these all vastness, these all uniqueness will not be there unless I am there to see that. Okay.
Yes.
So to see I, nothing is required. It is only I. Can you say that I am not there, or I am not? Can you ever say, or can anybody ever say, I am not?
No, I think that's not possible.
You always say, I am.
Yeah.
Even if you see, even if you go into deep sleep, there is no I am. But at the same time, you cannot have I am not.
Yes.
There is no I am, but there is no I am not also. So why can't you believe that there was death of body? Do you remember your physical body?
No.
You don't remember in the deep sleep. Now, when you come out, you remember, because somewhere some awareness, which is non-physical, non-local awareness, which was registering, which was observing, and you remember that I don't remember anything. I was not there. I was not there. But that is only in past tense, not in presence. So definitely I was not there, but which I? The physical I or the mental I, which you have believed, okay, I am a doctor, I am a father, I am a son, I am a super specialist. So and again, that question, that what exactly do you mean when you say I? Is I a group of belief? Is I a group of organs? Are you getting my point?
Yes.
So you should question that. And if I believe that I is a group of organs, or I is group of beliefs, like I am tall, I am dark, I am white, I am father, I am daughter, I am son, or I am a doctor, then there is death, because they are all acquired. There will be death. Whatever is born is bound to die. So if you believe I as those two things, as group of organs and group of beliefs, that I is definitely going to die. You cannot overcome the death of that I. Now, the question comes here, is there I, or is there something beyond this group of beliefs or group of organs? Do we want to explore? Again, that questions. If you want to explore, you work. If you do not want to explore, just enjoy the belief and group of organs, and there will be death. Believe that. You cannot overcome that death.
It makes a lot of sense, but I think I will have to contemplate, or I would have to process all that you have said, and it'll take time for agreement.
Yeah, it will take time.
But I think it definitely makes a lot of sense, and I, as I said, I need to think a lot about it, introspect, and then take it up ahead that way, sir. Sir, my last question to you would be that what are some of the Patanjali Yoga Sutras that you hold very close to your heart?
It is difficult to leave something out of Patanjali Yoga Sutra. It is a maths of inner science,
Mhm.
and each word, each letter is very, very important, because if you read those sutras, it is very chronologically arranged one by one. And the method is questioning. And you don't see questions, but when you read one sutra, if you
Mm.
are really reading and understanding, trying to understand that, next question will be, and the question will be there. And Patanjali has written like that, that he has assumed that question, he has predicted that question, and the next sutra will give you answer.
Okay.
Are you getting my point?
Yeah.
So, but still, for us, I will say, tapa स्वाध्याय ईश्वर प्रणिधानानि क्रिया योग, यानी ये साधन पाद का पहला सूत्र है, फर्स्ट सूत्र ऑफ साधन पाद ऑफ पातंजलि योग दर्शन.
Mm.
तप स्वाध्याय ईश्वर प्रणिधानानि क्रिया योग. So tap swadhyay, tap means to accept whatever comes to you,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
And also at the same time to cleanse your, or to give discipline to your life energy.
Mm.
Tap has got two components. One is whatever comes to you, you accept that,
Mm.
and also give your life energy to a direction,
Mm.
so that it can have a profound result.
Mm.
Swadhyay. Swadhyay means repetition.
Mm.
So repetition of that tap, whatever you are doing, repetition again and again, again and again.
Mm.
Or, and the last thing is Ishwar Pranidhan.
Mm.
Ishwar Pranidhan, there are only 3-4 times the Ishwar Pranidhan is used in this Patanjali Yoga Sutra.
Mm.
So Ishwar Pranidhan here, now again, and we have to understand that Ishwar is defined in Patanjali Yoga Sutra
Mm.
as Klesha Karma Vipaka Shayaihi Aparamrushtaha Purush Visheshaha Ishwaraha. Again, it will have a long discussion if you want to, but then we have time limit. So this is the definition of Ishwar.
Mm.
So when we want, see now, if you want to become a dancer,
Mm.
what will you do first? What will you
Uh,
do first?
so at first, I would probably decide what form of dance I want to learn. Uh, and once I decide that form of dance, then I would uh, go for the preparatory practices to understand the kind of moves that go into it. I would go for preparatory practices, flexibility exercises, and all that. And then I would start with the initial, maybe in the first go I will not be like a full-fledged dancer, so I would start with the basics, the understanding of the basics, maybe hand movement, feet movement, body movement, and then with my guru, with my shikshak, I would take it up further from there.
So I think the first and foremost thing is to find a guru,
Yeah.
right?
Mm.
So everything preparatory exercise or wish to do, even to decide that which form of dance you will be will be suitable to you, also the guru will help.
Uh,
You can decide on your own also.
hmm,
But still, if you go with mind, so with that decided, then it will be, sometimes it may happen that guru will tell different if you really are dedicated to guru. See,
hmm,
teachers are different.
hmm,
At present, we have different, our very intellectual issues.
hmm,
But really, if really guru is genuine, disciple is genuine, both will have, when they are combined together and working on a project, it will have a divine nature.
hmm,
But when the intellect comes in, the result will be different.
hmm.
But you will have a guru, right?
Yeah,
Sooner or later.
yeah.
So the guru will be like, he knows everything about the dance which you want to learn,
Hmm,
right? You will
hmm.
find that. Now here we want to find what we are doing yoga abhyas for. What is the principle we learn? Purush and
Yes,
Prakriti,
yeah.
the separateness. So now we have to find a guru. We have to at least imagine that something is there which is uh, which who knows Purush and Prakriti are different,
Correct. Hmm,
right?
hmm,
Okay. So you find a physical guru who knows this, and above that you find a Purush, any some tattva
hmm,
whom you believe that okay, he will be free of grief. That is klesha. Grief means klesha.
hmm,
Free of कर्म विपाका. विपाक means कर्म के जो फल होते हैं, the results of actions, he is free from that, he is free from grief, and he is free from desire.
hmm,
Because you want to achieve that state, so let us imagine there is a state where
hmm,
there is no klesh, there is no fruits of action, and there is no asha, desires.
hmm,
It exists or it doesn't exist, it is a separate thing. It
hmm,
is a separate question.
hmm,
But to help in your aim of achieving total freedom from grief
hmm,
and to gain the happiness, you should have someone, and that exists because you want to get that. So you should have a belief, firm belief, shraddha, that okay, somebody has already that,
hmm,
right? Then
hmm,
only you have that trust, you have that shraddha.
hmm.
So that we name the Patanjali has named uh, him as Ishvara.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yes.
So when you go for learning dance, you dedicate yourself to Guru who
Hmm,
will teach you. When you want to learn the Prakriti and Purush,
hmm,
you will dedicate yourself to an imaginary Purusha
hmm.
who has all these quality.
Correct.
That will at least be like an aim that I want to be like that. You also want to be a dancer like your Guru.
Hmm,
Right? So you will imagine, you have imagined a Guru, Ishwar, Kalpana, Ishwar, and you will surrender to that Guru, that is Pranidhan.
hmm.
So first is tap, it's not, I will not do something, everything I surrender and everything will do. No, yoga is not that. It is Bhakti Marga. There are
Yeah.
different marks to achieving the same things.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So tap, swadhyay, and Ishwar pranidhan. The Ishwar of yoga is defined as I said before.
Correct. All right.
So this is the sutra which one should follow to start with. There are
Okay.
other sutra also, right?
Right.
But this is the sutra. Kriya yoga. Tapa swadhyay ishwar pranidhana kriya yoga.
All right. So, I mean, I had a big voluminous information. I would not say information, but like a food for thought. So something from which I and all of us probably would be listening would be able to build upon. And so many doubts were clarified, and so many new thoughts were also put in my mind again. And probably I would want to explore more in those directions also. As you said, Swadhyay, I think that is very important to understand the subject and to understand ourselves, probably, and to connect with ourselves and to connect with every being around us. I completely enjoyed having this conversation with you, and I just cannot express how much I'm taking back along with me. And probably I have so many more questions coming up, and maybe I would invite you again for one more episode, probably, if you agree. And thank you so much. Thanks a lot for sharing all the views that you gave us. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, and I will be happy to be with you again. And thank you again for giving me this opportunity. And I pray the Almighty that this discussion will help all the listeners and viewers of this video. Hari Om.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Hari Om. Thank you so much.